The grant was basically set up to help with late season pollen and nectar sources for native pollinators and the honeybee. Obviously this is not a honeybee, it's kind of pretty, but this is one of the native pollinators that we have in the area. If you can't tell what it is, this is a Ohio Buckeye, but can you tell me the plant that's underneath it? And sedum. Can you tell me what kind? There you go, Autumn Joy. We got some plant people in the room. This is pretty good. I like it. How about this one? Is that a honeybee? No, it's metallic sweet bee. Yes, sweet bee. Okay. Can you tell me what the plant is? Sweat. Yes, metallic green. Actually, it's a false spirea. Okay. Go. How about this one? Obviously, it's a honeybee, but what's the flower? Coreopsis. It's one of your natives. Okay. Keep that in mind. The grant is for native plants, along with native pollinators. This is just a little overview that we had for basically the title, Increasing Overwintering Survival for the Honeybee Native Pollinators. This is the overwinter death losses. This is from last year, so I apologize for the information, but the reason for the stress, the lack of nutrition, depletes the immune system. Like I said, I'm preaching to the choir. Anybody guess that this was also a pollinator?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, everybody know. What's the flower?
Lantana.
It's lantana. It's not a native, but it's an noxious weed. Okay. How about this field? This is all goldenrods. There's actually 12 species of goldenrod. 9 of them are found in New Jersey. Okay, blooming at different times. North Jersey is a lot different than South Jersey. You guys actually have snow. We have absolutely nothing. I live in God's ass end down in Cape May. So, excuse me, kids. Sorry, I didn't mean to get that. Okay, obviously there's the honeybee, but can you see that other little guy coming in? Yeah, isn't it? Can you tell me the flower? That was a crown vetch. Okay. How about the small butterfly? Anybody know what it is?
Skipper?
Nah, not a skipper. It's a hair streak. Okay, and it's actually on what flower?
This is a hair streak right here.
Exactly. Well, no, we're not talking about gray hair. But this is mountain mint. Okay, another native. Exactly. Fostering an understanding. This is what the grant is about, basically. There are 3 main parts. I'll get to that in a second. But it is basically describing the interaction between them getting the carbohydrates and the amino acids from the nectar and the pollen. And the catalyst to increase the amount that's available. You increase the food, you're going to increase the population. There is an argument out there, 2 different schools of thought, about whether native pollinators are getting pushed out by the honeybee, but think about it. How long has the honeybee been here? Roughly 300 years. Okay? It's not a native. North and South America are the only continents on the planet that did not have a native honeybee population. Okay? Yeah, okay. Is this a bee? No. It's a wasp. The funny thing is, although they are carnivores, basically, for lack of a better term, they are actually pollinators because they will eat pollen for the protein content. Okay? Obviously, it's a honeybee, but can you tell me the flower? It's one of the asters. Okay? This is what they call a frost aster or old field aster. Okay? This is a honeybee again on that false spirea. It was just a pretty picture. Okay, how about this one? This is Rudbeckia, but is it the annual variety or the perennial variety? You got to remember, some of the annual flowers, like Coreopsis, some of the varieties, will actually be heavy cedars to the point where they will actually produce like a perennial flower. Anybody know this one? This is Monarda or bee balm. There's another 2 schools of thought, the common name and the Latin name. Trust me, go with the common one. It's a lot easier. Okay? Does anybody recognize this one?
Butterfly. Butterfly.
Is butterfly weed? It's Asclepias. They also call it railroad Annie. You can look at any old railroad bed and you can definitely find these guys. They usually bloom around August. Now, when you talk about late season, when you talk to a beekeeper, you're talking about when? Sometime in August, right? When you talk to a landscape or you talk to a plant person, what is late season? October. So there's a slight difference. Every one of these is a non-native flower and every one of them is a container. So if you don't have property, you can always help the cause and plant in containers. Okay? Complex interaction, the catalyst to increase the nectar for pollinators and establish rich forbs to reestablish their habitat. Think about how many roadsides, highways, and intersections and throughways for electrical and utility lines. Loss of habitat's the main reason why. So think about it.
Joe, what's
Yeah.
forb?
Forb is actually the fancy word for a perennial flower. In other words, something herbaceous. It doesn't produce wood. So, okay? Obviously, it's a honeybee, but what is the flower? Actually, it's a zinnia. Okay? The funny thing is, it's native to Mexico. Okay? Ooh. Anybody recognize the flower? This is seaside goldenrod. And there's, yes, actually, there's a beetle on there. That's another pollinator. This was taken right on the bay this past summer. They can tolerate a lot of salt water and a lot of sun and poor nutrients. Here's your crown vetch again, except this is a fly. Yes, flies are also pollinators. Okay? 3 phases of the grant: multimedia, the marketplace, and the methods. What we're basically doing is producing a video to educate the public on the need and the interaction for these particular pollinators and their sources for nectar and pollen. The marketplace. Literally, we're going to be producing flowers for you guys to give away at your 4-H fairs. So, if you would like some flowers this summer, starting in June, you need to contact myself. Lorette's in the back. She's co-chair for the committee. Her hand's raised up if you want to see her. Or Janet, contact us, because we have about 10,000 plants coming in, okay, for free giveaways to the public.
Can we do this at farmers markets and venues other than a fair?
We're shooting for the fairs themselves. That was basically what was in the grant. Okay, so we figured the best exposure, the most members of the public, and we'll have information to pass out with planting and care. With the farmers markets, you're up against competition with other growers that, at least with the farmer markets that I'm involved with in K-May County, they do sell plants. So they won't be too happy with us if we're giving away plants. I'm trying, and she's hurrying me up here. This is the first species that we're doing is New England aster. The second species is the butterfly weed. And the third is the goldenrod. And she's hurrying me up. Here's another pollinator. Pretty, isn't it? But the flower underneath, echinacea. So make sure you add that in. This is actually another coreopsis, except it's the annual. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Annuals work as well. This is a shot taken up at Stockton. These are their hives. This is where we're going to have our spring meeting, which is a segue for Bill. But this is one of the best places where they have, they're smack dab in the middle of the pine barrens, and they do get most of the forbs. That is just a pretty picture. It's the only reason why it's there. Okay? So if you want to get interested in and to participate with the grant, with the flower giveaway, please let us know. Okay? And we will have a brochure that we used for the New Jersey Plant Conference and for the New Jersey Flower Show next week that have a list of flowers on there that you can use. And it's not just the annual forbs. Remember, your bushes and your trees. Okay? Yes?
I know I'm part of the Northeast New Jersey beekeepers. Is that happening, Janet, as far as the Ramapo College? As far as
Yeah, Joe is working
Yeah.
with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you guys will be participating with Ramapo. We'll be participating with Stockton College, and Drew just left, and he'll be participating on his farm. We have 3 locations that we're actually going to do some trials in some quarter-acre plots with these species. Let's see how well it works, and then we're going to pull the municipalities, well, not municipalities, utilities in. Okay? All right?